here to help me break it all down. Danielle McLaughlin, Gianno Caldwell, and Gina Loudon. Gina, were you surprised, Jon Stewart? I mean, it was refreshing to hear him say it.
You know, ironically, piece of trivia here, he was one of the very first shows I ever did. And so I've had a lot of back-channel conversations with him. And I know that there are some instances where every liberal can have a really honest moment. I think what he said, Charles, is so important as a message to Democrats. What he said is a reflection of what just happened to them in this election. If they don't quit screaming racism every time something goes wrong and being monolithically racist themselves in their own way, it's going to continue to fly back at them. They need to get a different message. He's right.
You know, Gianno, I do find that to be amazing is that, listen, they use the woman's card, the race card. They use all of the victim cards trying to make it to the White House. It didn't work and immediately doubled down on the same game plan.
Right. You know what, Big Brother Charles, I tell you, what emboldened Trump voters is the fact that there were so many of these individuals on the left, you're talking about Hollywood, you're talking about mainstream media, who said that if you support Donald Trump and some of his rhetoric, which was we want to make sure that we don't have open borders, we want to make sure we're bringing jobs back to this country, then you must be a racist. That emboldened a lot of Trump voters because they haven't heard a candidate, a presidential candidate on the left or right talk about these issues in a very long time. This has been a mistake by the Democratic Party, and to a large extent, they're continuing to make those mistakes because they're blaming everyone but themselves for the flawed candidate in which they put up. So now they're in a moment where Jon Stewart, thankfully, has said something to them that they must realize that it's not the Republican Party, it's not Trump supporters, it is them. And that is seen with Hillary Clinton underperforming Barack Obama in every category of this election cycle, and Republicans nationwide gaining 1,000 new legislative seats since Obama took over in 2008.
It was a runaway in any sense of the... Danielle, why? I mean, listen, I know it worked. Politics of Indian division got Barack Obama elected twice. But why now can't they see that this division, ripping the country apart or exaggerating our differences as people, the victimization card? I mean, you're a very vocal, active person within the Democratic Party. Why can't your party see that not only is this backfiring, but it's dangerous?
Well, first I want to say I agree with Jon Stewart. Absolutely, we aren't monoliths. Women are not monoliths. Minorities are not monoliths. But I want to speak to this notion of identity politics. And the reason that people like me care about women in Texas who can't get access to health care because they have got a bunch of Planned Parenthoods being closed is because that only actually affects those women. So you might call that identity politics, talking about poor women, but I'm talking about a constituency that is being prejudiced by a governmental system that we believe actually government should be in support of.
But wouldn't a solution to that also apply to other people in other areas? And, you know, again, to zero in on a specific topic and to make it feel like, hey, this group is being targeted when their neighbors may not know how they're going to pay their rent. Don't you understand what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. And I think that economic problems, physical health problems, problems with race and bias and religion, all of these things matter. We want, as you want, all boats to rise. We want economic prosperity for all. And frankly, as those boats rise, I think we see less inequality. I mean, that's just a fact. But it's important to call out injustice where we see it, and that's what the left is doing.
All right, so Gina, Jon Stewart, I think Susan Sarandon said a few things. Even Kanye said he would have voted for Trump. I don't know, but maybe something is happening here. Maybe an epiphany is happening, because I, for one, really would love to see a nation where politicians just, focus on we, the American people, without seeing gender or race.
That is exactly what all of us want, Charles. And I think that Democrat voters and independents, certainly their message to the Democrat Party is precisely what you're saying. They want it to be about Americans. They don't want it to be about funneling money to Planned Parenthood. They don't want it to be about racist issues, gender issues, class issues. They want it to be about all Americans coming together and having jobs and a successful economy. And by the way, safety, national security. It's a huge issue. That's why the wall is important, and that's why fighting ISIS and calling it what it is really important. And those are the issues Donald Trump won on.
Safety for one and safety for all. Guys, thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Major averages, well, they were down a little bit today, but let's face it, it's been one hell of a ride since Donald Trump has won. My market comment